everyone, Joshua Myers here, and welcome back to my Sleepaway Camp franchise review series. And today I'm going to be reviewing the third film in the series, and that is Sleepaway Camp 3, Teenage Wasteland from 1989.
Angela's back. Last year's Camp Carnage was so much fun that Angela has decided to return for another season.
How many have you killed this time?
Lots.
Kill me too? How you gonna do it? What's it gonna be?
A gun. Seems like every time I go to camp, somebody loses their head.
Sleepaway Camp 3, Teenage Wasteland.
Sleepaway Camp 3 stars Pamela Springsteen, Tracy Griffin, Michael J. Pollard, Mark Oliver, Kim Wall, and it's directed by Michael A. Simpson. The plot of Sleepaway Camp 3 is that this time, the camp set in the deep dark woods is a camp for troubled youths. The psychotic killer that has roamed the woods and has been the topic of many ghost stories is still lurking about. She has come up with a permanent cure for the teens. Problems start happening as the body count piles up. There's some actual cool kills, but by concept actually. Like, I really thought the whole hanging, almost like like those jokes you see on cartoons and stuff like that, where they would tie a character up by their underpants to a flagpole and then just raise it up. So there's a similar death scene like that where Angela ties one of the campers ties it to their shorts, well, not to their pants, and then she raises the flagpole raises the line where the flag normally is, except this time it's with a teenager, and then she basically lets go, first she basically raises up to where it's all the way to the top of the flagpole, and then just lets go, and the body just comes, woo! That is a cool kill, actually, and definitely a cool concept for a kill. I haven't seen a kill necessarily like that in a horror movie, especially with it amongst the 80s slasher films. I don't think even Friday the 13th, I don't think any of the Friday the 13th set even attempted a kill like that. Because to me that sounds like something that would be a kill with the Friday the 13th movies. Also, I gotta give credit where credit's due. I do actually still like Pamela Springsteen as Angela. I still like her better than Felissa Rose from the first movie. I mean, she's still kind of this quirky character in that. There's something about Pamela Springsteen's performance in these movies, like the second one and this one, that you latch on to her. You care for her almost. Even though she's the psychotic killer that's trying to kill all these campers and that, you kind of root for her. Although a bit of that is because, well, again, we'll get to my negatives, but you do care for Angela as a character. At least I did in Sleepaway Camp 2 and 3, mostly because of the performance by Pamela Springsteen and just the different stuff they did with that character. I mean, if you look at the character of Angela from the first one with Felissa Rose's performance, and then you look at Angela in Sleepaway Camp 2 and 3 with Pamela Springsteen's performance, it's almost like a totally different character, almost. Also, to another character I did not mind as well is, I forgot his name, I'll put the character's name here, and the actor too. Who portrays the cop and stuff like that, the cop who arrested Angela, and whose son, who was a character in Sleepaway Camp 2, who, boy, I mean, if you're watching this, you have watched Sleepaway Camp 2. His son gets decapitated by Angela by the end of the second movie, and now his father is out for revenge, is wanting to, even to extreme lengths as kill Angela right then and there if he ever came across her. I thought that was kind of an interesting character for this type of movie. And again, I do have a few negatives with how that all plays into this movie. I'll get into my negatives, but outside of two cool characters and a couple neat kills, that's honestly it for my positives, because yeah, to be honest, the movie is actually rather boring, actually. unlike Sleepaway Camp 2, which I thought was a pretty fun, entertaining little 80s slasher film, this one doesn't really try anything much. It's just basically the same kind of thing. You know, Angela goes to another camp, which apparently is built, a camp that's built on the same camp as Sleepaway Camp 2, which is built on the same camp as Sleepaway Camp 1. It's like, and it just gets repetitive, honestly. And this is where I start to see the series become repetitive. Yeah, that's definitely what it is. All the characters outside of Angela and the cop were basically stereotypes of stereotypes. Their bad acting didn't help much either. Like, seriously, everybody sounded like they were so disinterested. They were like, it almost came across as Lucas type, you know, like George Lucas type of dialogue. It's like, you know, in episode 3, it's like, you're so beautiful. No, because I'm so in love. No, because I'm so in love with you, and stuff like that. And even then, they seem like in the Star Wars prequels, there was much more emotion put into them than these guys. Not only that, too, they brought back some of the issues I had with Sleepaway Camp 1. That being is, you know, there's some creepy stuff in here. Like, there's this one old man who's like the husband of this of the counselors at this camp, portrayed by Michael J. Pollard. The character's name's Herman. He's always like checking out this younger camp counselor and who's a snotty rich character and everything like that. And even it does eventually, you know, although it's interrupted by Angela, who axes them off, because again, in horror movies, especially slasher movies during the 80s, if you have sex, you die. But yeah, so, and it's just, and knowing that too, they had, like, they also sexualized the male characters, I think, a bit too much. And the female characters a bit too much, I think. You know, it's like, I mean, I will give credit, at least it's fair on that, you know, but I just think it's not necessary. I might be a minority on that, because to be honest, for me, I'm kind of more mature in that regard. I'm like, you know, what seems sexy to me is not just looks. Looks is just a bonus for me, but also personality. If you have a great personality and stuff like that, that to me is sexy, you know? I just feel like when horror movies do this a lot, it just is, it almost kind of degrades your film in quality. Right? It's not classy. It's not classy at all. And here's the thing, there's ways to shoot nudity and stuff like that in a classy way, and this film just doesn't. And knowing that too, even how it portrays this stuff is not classy. You know, again, you have an old fart, like, who, like, co-runs this camp, and is, okay, and I'll also give credit to, at least he's wasn't molesting this character, unlike the cook in Sleepaway Camp 1, which basically, he was just a child molester, basically. He even, like, on film, which that was just disgusting to me. Again, if you go back to my review of that, I'm like, so how come so many people like this movie, and especially with this kind of stuff in it, when they've trashed the Nightmare on Elm Street remake for the exact same reason? It's like, hello? But at least here, he didn't molest her, it was consensual sex, which I'm all about, so yeah, but still, it's still kind of creepy, you know? It's like, yeah. And knowing that too, even the climax here is kind of boring. I don't, like, it's boring, and knowing that too, like, they build up this whole thing with, like, the cop trying to get revenge for his son's death in Sleepaway Camp 2, and basically, you know, I thought it was good, you know, you could have really done something with this, have it be this big climactic showdown, you know, and even could have it be the finale of the series and that, but they didn't do that. Actually, there were hints of maybe them doing that, but they just almost seemed to, like, they almost chicken out on doing that. I'm like, that would have been so cool, actually, having Angela against this cop who is on a revenge spree. Honestly, that film alone, like, that could have been a good film on its own, especially if it had competent writers in it. But no, it didn't really go that route. In fact, that character, like the cop, is barely in the film, actually. And then when he does confront Angela at the end, it's like, it's not played off as this big thing or anything like that. And then she just shoots him. And that's it. It's like no payoff whatsoever. I didn't felt like there was the right amount of payoff for what the film was trying to build up towards with this character. And knowing that too, another negative I have as well, this film doesn't nearly look as good as the second Sleepaway Camp movie, or even the first Sleepaway Camp film, which I think honestly the most positive thing I said about the first one is that it visually looked the best out of the Sleepaway Camp movies. You know, it visually looked the best in my opinion. And for me, you know, this is probably the worst looking one so far. I have yet to see the fourth film, Return to Sleepaway Camp. So, that came out in 2008. So I have yet to see that. But from what I've seen so far, this is probably the worst looking, like, visual-wise of the films. Knowing that too, out of the films as well, probably has the least memorable soundtrack. I could at least remember some bits of the soundtrack from Sleepaway Camp 1, Sleepaway Camp 2. I don't remember the music for Sleepaway Camp 3. I really don't. But honestly, for me, that's it with my negatives, and let's just move on to my rating. So with that said, I'm going to give Sleepaway Camp 3, Teenage Wasteland, a 2.5 out of 5 stars. Honestly, for me, this is just a very forgettable film in the series. You know, for all the first film's plot, at least I remember it, actually. And for me, I was kind of tossing it up because it's like, which is worse? You know, a film that is so bad that you end up remembering it and left an impact on you, or a film that is so, like, it's just middle of the road, but it's so boring and all that stuff that you just instantly forget it. That's kind of tough for me. This might be a tough place for me when I eventually do my ranking of this franchise. So that's it for this review. Thank you guys for watching, and see you next time.